What's up, everybody? I'm Lang Whitaker. He's John Roser. This is IMHO. And, John, I thought this week we could talk about the NBA 75, the 75th anniversary of the NBA. The NBA released a list of its 75 greatest, most important, sort of a nebulous list of 75 players. It seems people think it's the best 75 players in the history of the NBA, which, of course, we have to debate about.
Yes.
Who did you think...
Embrace debate.
Who did you think should have been on the list that was not on the list?
Dwight Howard. I've talked about this on, I think I talked about it on a podcast last night. I have talked about it on Chris Vernon's show. I think I talked about it on a Grizzlies post-game show with Jessica Benson. Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard should be on there over James Harden, Damian Lillard, and Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard has been the best player that took a team to the NBA Finals, and none of those three have ever done that.
Right.
And you look at Dwight Howard's 6-year run, that 5-6-year run where he's like first-team All-NBA every time. He's first-team All-Defense, except for one of the years he's second-team All-Defense. He's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Again, like that. Like, I don't know how he gets left off there.
Yeah.
People forget how awesome he was.
I think there's sort of a recency bias with him.
It is.
Because of the injuries toward in like the last couple of years.
And he's kind of become like, in a way, he's a little bit of a goon on the court. Like he's kind of had some dirty fouls on players, and
he's been on a different team every year, like the last 5 years. So
he's former Memphis Grizzly.
Yeah,
never put on the jersey.
Grizzlies legend Dwight Howard. I would also add to that Pau Gasol. Speaking of former Grizzlies. Yeah. Pau won a title with the Lakers, 2 titles with the Lakers, actually. 4-time All-NBA player. Of course, all he accomplished internationally. I think Pau deserved to get on that list also. What about Manu Ginobili? That's another one.
Manu Ginobili, Parker and Ginobili were both brought up as not missing. Which one would you go, Parker or Ginobili? Ginobili's impact on the game...
Yeah.
The Euro step is...
However, Tony Parker was a Finals MVP.
Tony Parker was a Finals MVP, and Kawhi made it.
Yeah.
Kawhi's a 2-time Finals MVP. Kawhi's got the accolades too. Ginobili's influence on the game with that Euro step, which is now taught everywhere. I'm going to go here. Okay, here's one for me and this is just personal bias. I love this guy. It's crazy. You see kids know about these players now because of YouTube, and they can look up all the old school and 2K. Yeah. They can look up all the old school players. But when I'm growing up playing video games, these guys weren't on the video games. You couldn't go get guys from the 80s on the 90s and 2000s games and play with them. I learned, and I didn't have YouTube. You remember NBA's Greatest Games on ESPN hosted by Dan Patrick?
Yeah.
Okay. This is how I learned about the greatness that was Bernard King.
Okay.
And so I think Bernard King should have been on there. Bernard King is absolutely one of the 5 best scorers that I've ever seen play basketball.
I think the issue with him was the injuries. His prime was pretty short. And there's a bunch of guys you could kind of have in that same category as that, like Grant Hill,
Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady.
Vince
had a long career.
Yeah, he played 20 years, and to me, it's a little different story. Yeah. Like he sort of changed his game as he got older, but Grant and T-Mac, like we never really saw their extended primes the way we did for a lot of those guys.
Yao Ming would have been someone I bet would have been on there too.
2 other current players, agreed. 2 other current players I've seen a lot of talk about that may or may not belong. Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving I've got on here. And the reason I put Kyrie on there is not because I like Kyrie, but it's because you hear the way other players talk about Kyrie.
Yeah.
And Andre Iguodala is the guy who played against him in the NBA Finals, and he went to bat for him on Twitter. And you know how these other players think about Kyrie Irving. They think higher of him than fans do and media does.
Here's the thing. I would put Klay Thompson ahead of him on my
list. Ahead
of
Kyrie?
I would, because A, the championships he's won. B, he's a way better defensive player.
He is.
He's like a first-team all-defensive player, incredible shooter who's really sacrificed a lot of probably what he could do to be on winning teams. So, I don't know. What about guys who we think didn't belong on the list? I mean, are you?
I don't think Damian Lillard and James Harden should have been on there.
Lillard, though, I mean, Lillard's never won a scoring title, never been to the finals, never done a lot.
He's been to the West Finals, and there was no KD, and they still got waxed by the Warriors.
Lillard was a surprise to me. I mean, I don't know how much of this is also projecting for the next 10 years what these guys will do. Like Anthony Davis made it too, and
I'd have Dwight Howard on there ahead of Anthony Davis.
Maybe that's what they got in an argument about.
Another guy that I thought, I'm like, man, injuries too with this guy, because you go back and look at what Maurice Stottemeyer.
Yeah.
Go look at Amari's numbers during his prime. It was a short prime, but this guy's like 40 and 20 in playoff games,
What about this guy made the original 50 list, and he made it again this time, Bill Walton, who he won 2 titles. He was an MVP. I think he won a finals MVP, but really short prime, lots of injuries. And
I understand Bill Walton because with him and his talent, it was undeniable. It really was undeniable. To me, it's almost a little bit like a way of like Patrick Willis in the NFL. Like he played like 7 or 8 years in the NFL, but he's like an all-pro and a Pro Bowler every year he's in the league. Now he didn't play 15 years like some of the others, like a Mike Singletary or Ray Lewis or whatever, but there's no denying that guy is if you're naming one of the 5 best linebackers of all time, you're naming him, and I think Walton is, I get it with Walton. Yeah. Some of these guys I didn't see enough.
Sure.
I don't
George Mikan and those guys.
Yeah. Some of these guys I don't know, and I imagine it's more impact that they had on the game. I was glad to see Pistol Pete Maravich make it though.
Yeah. All right, well, those are our opinions, and for more opinions from us and other Grind City Media people, follow Grind City Media on social media. You can go to grindcitymedia.com. He's John Roser. I'm Lane Whitaker. We'll see you back here next week.
Go Braves!